I'm Katrina, and this is Sow and Tare. Today we're going to be talking about vertical gardening, and specifically strawberries. So, I have always wanted a strawberry tower. I will insert a clip here. I have had these on the side of my yard for a very long time. An experiment that didn't quite go right, but learning is good. So I saw something in a magazine really long time ago, before I had my house, and I talked to my dad about it, just mentioned it, said, hey, I think I could make this. And what it was is this is big, it was a bigger one, not the size of this. It's a big, it looked like a PVC with a bunch of holes in it, and it was a strawberry planter. And I think, well, they were using it for lettuce, I think, but I thought I could do that with strawberries. So I had this idea of making out of PVC and having it line my driveway in containers. And I just thought that was such a great idea, and I hadn't seen that done before. And so my dad actually ended up making me these. What it is it's a PVC with a hole saw drilled in, and we have a soaker hose, and then, you know, a bunch of them hook up to this. And it was such a great idea, and it definitely would work in a more moist area, but the area I am in is way too dry for this to work. The soil dried out super quickly. You would have to have that soaker hose running so much. So if you do this in a dry area, it's not going to work unless you want to water it constantly. Or if you want to try it on a bigger, a bigger diameter, it would work perfectly, I think. The concept is there. So now we have some companies that have come up with some things that look a little better than this, and we're going to get into that right now. So I've been hearing a lot about green stock, and for a couple years now I've really wanted one, and I hadn't gotten around to getting one. I did just order one, so I am hoping that that comes soon and that I can do a comparison between this and the green stock. My boyfriend's daughter actually got this for me for Christmas, and you can see it there. And it has a similar idea based on the same principles. It doesn't seem to have the same type of watering system. I'm not sure how the watering is supposed to work. I think you're supposed to like physically water it every day. But I'm gonna see how that works, and we'll do a review on it, see how it works. How it gets put together is by this chain, and I guess we'll see how that works. So this is the Vivison 5-tier planter. It's supposed to be put together like this. Let's do it together. So I'm going to use this. I actually have this. I was going to use it for something else, but I'm going to use it for this, since it does not come on wheels. So it looks like this gets assembled after the soil is in, and each has a drain. This has a drainage thing for each level. I'll put the first level in. Well, I guess we're going to end up stacking them anyway, so I don't know that it makes sense to do that first. Alright, so I'm putting one of these in the base of every single one of these. And then I'll put the soil on. I'm just using potting soil. Okay, so now they're all filled up. I'm just gonna pat them a little bit, and I expect this to settle a little bit just because it is in a container and it is potting soil. I filled it up pretty high. All right, so how this works is this goes here, and this chain has a hook on one end and this on the other, that on the other, and that's the part that gets fashioned into here. But first it has to go through these holes, so it's a little complicated. I am going to try and master it. So this is kind of an impractical way of doing things, but this is what the instructions say. I have 3 put together. This is the hook, and there is a chain I have to get through 2 more. Maybe this was supposed to be done before you put the soil in. Alright guys, I just did that the wrong way. Apparently you're not supposed to put soil in. I'm not sure how great we're going to get the soil in there once things are on top, but this is how it works. There's a hook on this side of this chain, and then there's another chain, and at the end, and we're going to put this on at the end. Let's see how it goes. I'm going this way this time. So I am having to push this through. This hole is a little small for this chain. I don't think they thought about that. Until I can grab it on the other side and pull it through. See, look, it's too small to go down by itself. You have to push it. Alright, last one, and then the bottom. Alright, next up, this is the base. It goes this way. I'm going to put it on this way because I have everything upside down right now. And this hooks on this piece of metal. I guess just like that. There's the bottom. Alright, let's flip this guy over and see how we do. Alright, I'm going to refill with my potting soil. Now this does not have any sort of watering system that sits on top. It just leaks through from the bottom of the other bucket. Although their only video on YouTube had the lady spraying it with a little sprayer. Alright, last one on top. I want to show you guys where the water comes out. There's a few holes in these grooves where the water comes out. So I'm curious to see how this watering system actually works when put in place. I'm curious to see how I can put an automatic watering on this, and I'll come back with the results. It does look like I can hang it somewhere. Okay, so now that this is filled with soil, we know we can hang it somewhere, which is interesting. They don't actually have instructions for like anything on this. They just tell you just a very minimal basics. But that'll be interesting. I might try and hang this somewhere. It's gonna be heavy though. I'll be planting strawberries in this. And for strawberries, there are two general types. There are June bearing and there are ever bearing. June bearing, they don't only fruit in June, but often it's about 3 months of very, very concentrated, it could just be 1 month depending on the variety, but it's a very concentrated harvest. So that is like if you're wanting to make jams and jellies and stuff like that, where you have, you know, need a lot at once, then you would want June bearing. The other thing is ever bearing, and that you get less strawberries, but for a longer amount of time. So I actually have two types. Sequoia is June bearing and Ozark Beauty is the ever bearing. And I think for this one, I'm going to put June bearing in, and then I think I need to fill a little bit of space with the Ozark Beauty. So it's going to be mostly Sequoia. So I just got these at Lowe's, and I think by the time you guys see this, it won't be planting season for strawberries anymore. But when you get these, you get this little bag. It has little holes in it for you know, for little breathing holes. And when you get it, it's just going to be roots. So sometimes they are growing a little bit, sometimes they're not. Whenever I go in, I always look to see that something is growing, because that's always a good sign that something is alive. But sometimes you're just going to look as a bunch of roots. So like there's some soil in there, but it's mostly going to be this mass. So it's mostly going to be this mass. Depending on how long it's been at the store, it could be dried out, it could be, you know, moist, it could be moldy. So those are things to look for. But all you need to do, this is 10 strawberries right here, and all you need to do is kind of tease it apart, and you'll see that they come apart pretty easy. So that's one. So this has two sprouts, but oops, this has two sprouts, but still one plant. Sometimes you get extras in these. Sometimes they short you. Most of the time you get extras. Okay, here it is. I was gonna say there's usually a rubber band, but I didn't see it. Usually when you get rubber band, usually when you get strawberries or like asparagus crowns, they'll rubber band it for you. So if you're having trouble getting it apart, that might be why. The way you plant strawberries is you want to put the roots towards where the water is. Strawberries both love water and hate water. And then also for these plants, you want to put it so that the roots are pointing in and the plant is pointing out. So strawberries love water and they hate water. And that means that their roots love water, but their leaves hate water. So if you have some strawberry plants that aren't doing well, and you never plant up the plant, you plant just to the base. You can see this is an old, so this used to be one of these. So that's an old one. So you can tell where that used to grow, and it keeps on expanding out. So if your strawberries are having trouble, it might be a water issue if it's having trouble on the leaves. If it's having trouble else, you know, it could be too wet or too dry. And I always pick off, like there's a dead leaf, I always pick those off. Now I planted strawberries in another bed and they were doing great. And then the spearmint that I planted next to the bed invaded the bed. Yeah, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Don't ever plant any kind of mint in the ground unless you want it to take over everything. It's a pretty good rule that I didn't follow. I knew about it. I was like, oh, it's outside the bed. I'll be able to keep it outside the bed. No. Nope. Can't keep it outside the bed. So this is where I planted it. It has grown all the way that way. And this this right here is the old strawberry bed. There's still strawberries in there, amazingly. But it is a spearmint bed right now. So next time I see you, we're going to be probably planting up the green stalk, and then I will be kind of evaluating these two things, because everybody knows the green stalk's great, everybody says so, but I want to see if this is a viable kind of substitute or something. It is less expensive. It doesn't come with wheels, but you could put wheels on it. Like I said, you could. So with this, you can buy one of these made for barrels or any other plant thing, or you can hang it. Apparently, it doesn't actually say that you can hang it. I've never seen any pictures that you can hang it, but I don't know why it would have a hook if you couldn't hang it. So there's some options there, and we're gonna see how this goes. Well, guys, this is not a good sign. I just tried to pick it up and this whole thing came up. So now it's no longer connected, and I guess I have to pick it up all together. Fun. It appears I lost the whole first half of this video. Anyway, it showed an unboxing of green stalk. They have wonderfully worded and photoed instructions, and I filled up the soil first, and we'll be planting these. It looks like it ended with me planting the top ones, which came from my yard. So I dug up the ones from my yard. The other ones I planted are the same type that I planted for the other planter. For the remaining 7 parts, I dug up some strawberries that had volunteered in the yard. I had one clump that was really quite large and broke up into, I think, 4 different ones. So I'm just ripping off all the old growth. And we will be planting those. I'm going to put that on the top though, just so I can keep an eye on them. They did come out of an area that had spearmint, and I do not want to introduce that into this container. And this one even has another second little baby on it right here. So maybe I'll establish this somewhere else. I think that's what I'll do. Alright, now we're going to stack them. This goes right on top of here. It connects up with that hole in the middle. Then we put the next one on top. I do have this on the roller still, so hopefully it's going to hold all that weight. And I got it lined up. Keep it easy. Put that on there. Put another one on top. This probably would be more sturdy with the actual bottom that goes with it, but I failed to get that. So this is the top here, and then this water tray is going on top. looks like it hooks in right in here. All right, now that we have this on here, there is a line at the top here. There's 3 lines. They are unmarked, but I believe that if I have 7, which is what I have, it goes up to the top line. 7 layers. So let's see how this goes. So that's supposed to travel down through the center, through those discs, and then out into the parts. It looks like it's going down pretty quickly. Now these have not been watered before, so it's gonna take a while probably. You can see right in there, it's dripping. That's dripping from that round retainer in between each layer. So that actually went down pretty quick. I don't see any coming out the bottom, which is good. I'm actually going to water again. That's what I did with other ones, so I'm just going to be thorough in my comparison and water it again. This is the first time watering too, so it'll take more water. Thanks for watching part 1 of this. I'm going to have probably at least 2 more videos about strawberry towers in this little mini series. And so make sure you like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.